And the following bills not be referred to a committee. Australian Security Intelligence Organisation Amendment Bill No. 1, 2025, Australian Security Intelligence Organisation Amendment Bill No. 2, 2025, Strengthening Oversight of the National Intelligence Community Bill 2025 and Defence Housing Australia Amendment Bill 2025.
Defence Housing Australia Amendment Bill 2025. Now, you can't make some stuff up in politics, but what about this? The last parliament, we saw Labor coming up with a million reasons why they couldn't do anything on public housing. Well, they couldn't help people out on rents, they couldn't do anything, they couldn't build public housing, and they kept saying, oh, it's all the Greens' fault for not supporting their crap bills. So then this parliament, they start with a public housing bill. So well done, Labor. Well done. You bring a public housing bill into the chamber, you push it through the lower house, and do you know what public housing they're building?
What is it?
They're building public housing for US troops under AUKUS. That's their public housing bill. And right now they want to build 700 public housing units over in WA, not to put Australians who haven't got a home in it, not to put renters who can't afford a home in it, but they're building public housing for US troops because Uncle Donald asked them to. Uncle Donald asked them to.
Surely not.
Surely this is not Labor's. Surely they read this, didn't they? Didn't somebody in the Labor caucus say our first public housing bill for the new parliament can't be to build the US housing for US troops under AUKUS? Surely someone did a sort of reality check, but no, that's their bill. And do you know what? They can't even say how many hundreds of millions of public dollars will be used to build US troops public housing under this bill, and even the coalition were asking some questions about it. Now, the coalition normally—
A government steps into a new parliamentary term, promising bold action on a crisis that's been crushing everyday Australians for years. You'd hope they'd tackle the housing nightmare, skyrocketing rents, impossible homeownership dreams, and homelessness rates climbing faster than a kangaroo on a trampoline. But instead, what's the first housing bill they push through? A plan to build cozy homes for, wait for it, US troops under AUKUS. Yes, you heard that right. Not for struggling Aussie families, not for renters drowning in bills, but for American soldiers stationed here as part of a military pact. Let's unpack this, shall we? The Defence Housing Australia Amendment Bill 2025 sailed through the lower house like a yacht on a sunny day, with Labor and the coalition holding hands to make sure it faced as little scrutiny as possible. You'd think a bill this controversial, using public funds to house foreign troops, would at least get a proper public inquiry. Nope. The government and their mates in the coalition shut that down faster than you can say public transparency. Here's how it went down in the Senate. The crossbench, led by folks like Senator Shoebridge and Senator McKim, tried to do the right thing. They moved an amendment to send this bill to the Foreign Affairs, Defense, and Trade Legislation Committee for a proper review by October 28th. Sounds reasonable, right? Let's have a public conversation about why we're prioritizing homes for US troops over Aussies sleeping on the streets. But Labor and the coalition teamed up, voted 31-13, and crushed that motion. Bells rang, votes were cast, and just like that, the chance for public debate was swept under the rug. Now, let's talk about the bill itself. The Defence Housing Australia Amendment Bill 2025 isn't exactly a bestseller in the Clarity Department. It's supposed to provide housing and related services for US military personnel, their families, and even contractors tied to AUKUS operations. We're talking about plans for 700 homes in Western Australia, possibly more in places like Fremantle or Darwin, where 2,500 US Marines already cycle through annually. But here's the kicker. Nobody seems to know how much this is going to cost. Hundreds of millions of taxpayer dollars? Billions? Your guess is as good as mine, because the government's keeping that number tighter than a drum. The explanatory memorandum for the bill claims it'll have no financial impact. No financial impact? Are we building these houses out of good vibes and leftover Vegemite? Providing homes for foreign troops, their families, and contractors, none of which we've done before. Sounds like it's going to cost a pretty penny. But when the coalition, who usually wave through anything AUKUS-related like it's their patriotic duty, dared to ask, excuse me, where's the money coming from? They got no answers. So they shrugged, retreated, and went back to playing the loyal non-opposition opposition. This isn't just about numbers, though. It's about priorities. Australia's in the grip of a housing crisis that's only getting worse. Homelessness is up 10% since May 2022, according to the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare. For women and girls, it's a staggering 14% increase. Renters are being squeezed, young people can't dream of owning a home, and social housing? Well, the government's made some noises about investments, but they're drops in the bucket compared to the ocean of need. And yet, the first housing bill of this parliament isn't about putting roofs over Aussie heads. It's about rolling out the red carpet for Uncle Sam's troops. Let's talk AUKUS for a second. This military pact with the US and UK is already costing us billions to American defense contractors, billions to British companies like Rolls-Royce for nuclear submarines. And now we're adding an unknown number of millions to build homes for US personnel. Meanwhile, Australians are couch surfing, living in cars, or queuing up for homelessness services. It's not just a policy choice, it's a statement of values. And right now, it feels like the government's saying, AUKUS comes first, Aussies come last. What's even more frustrating is the secrecy. If the government's so proud of this bill, why not let it face public scrutiny? Why not let the Senate committee dig into the details, how many homes, where, and at what cost? Why not explain to taxpayers why their money is going to house foreign troops instead of addressing the crisis at home? The fact that Labour and the coalition joined forces to block an inquiry tells you everything you need to know. They don't want us asking questions. They don't want us to know. This isn't just about one bill. It's about a bigger pattern. When it comes to AUKUS, the major parties seem to sing from the same hymn sheet. They'll wave through anything, submarines, military bases, now housing, without blinking, even when the details are murkier than a muddy billabong. And when someone tries to shine a light on it like the crossbench did, they're shut down. It's not just undemocratic. It's a betrayal of the people they're supposed to serve. So where do we go from here? The housing crisis isn't going away. Homelessness is rising. Rents are out of control. And the dream of a fair go feels further away than ever. If the government can find the will and the wallet to build homes for US troops, why can't they do the same for Australians? Why not invest in social housing at the scale we need? Why not prioritize the people who elected them? I'm digging into this housing mess to see what's been done, what's been promised, and where we're heading. There's a bigger story here, and I'll be sharing more soon. For now, let's keep the pressure on. Demand transparency, demand accountability, and demand a government that puts Aussies first. Not AUKUS, not foreign troops, but the people who call this country home. What do you think about this? Drop your thoughts in comment.